Hey, happy Sunday, February 25th, 2018. This is Photo Share and Discussion number 224. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully get a couple people pop in here. I know, I think Wes is out in Orlando or something for a camera show, so I would expect a report on that next week, I guess, if he doesn't make it today. But hope everybody's doing well. Hopefully get a couple people in here. We're heading into the end of almost the end of February already, and it's amazing how fast 2018 is going so far. But we're getting closer and closer to springtime. Down here in the south, it's trees are already starting to bud out. There were some of the red buds, and are they Bartlett pears or some pear tree is bloomed and pretty much done already, which is a little early for us, but kind of happened so fast, and I've been so busy with work that I just missed the opportunity to photograph that. I was hoping to get some to try to do some more springtime photography, but it's coming. Spring is coming along here real quick. So for those of us here in the south, it's going to be here in the next 30 days or so, really, when everything starts blooming and the pollen increases tremendously, which you can probably hear in my voice. I don't have huge allergies, but I definitely do have a slight reaction to all the amount of pollen. So we're kind of going to be in the pollen train here for the next 6 weeks or so, really through almost the end of mid-April at least. But with that comes all the flowers and everything that comes out as part of spring. So hoping to do some springtime photography here, maybe hopefully in the next couple of weeks, get some time to be able to get out and do that. But weather's changing fast. Always change of the seasons always brings opportunities for photography. So hope everybody, if you're watching this now or later or whatever, that maybe that's one of the great ways to I guess maybe jumpstart your photography habit or passion, is to take advantage of the season, the change in the seasons, and all the new stuff that comes along with that. I know just last week I finally got some of the images scanned and uploaded to the group from my fall trip up into the mountains back in November. It was right around November 1st, so December, January, almost 4 months ago. So, but it was nice. The change in the colors, the change in the seasons is a great opportunity to kind of get back into photography, or get a new take on photography. So we're getting close to that. All you guys up north, probably got a little ways to go. Probably what was Groundhog Day a couple weeks ago, and I guess there was a consensus opinion this year between Punxsutawney Phil and General Beauregard Lee, the guy down here in Woodstock, Georgia, is that they both agreed that there was 6 more weeks of winter. But so you guys up north have a little ways to go before spring happens. Probably another 6 weeks or so, I guess, really, until spring starts hitting for you guys, first to mid part of April. But great opportunity to kind of up the photography game, or at least get back into it or get re-inspired. So I'm looking forward to doing that here over the next few weeks as spring hits full force here in Atlanta and the rest of the South, all the flowers and everything. So looking forward to that. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the news in photography that has happened over the last week. I just did a real quick check right before I hit the go button here, and there's a few things that kind of caught my eye. One of them is film related, and so for us film photographers out there, it's kind of interesting when a new film or a film gets new film comes out, or an old film gets re-released and put back out into the marketplace. And then some interesting things kind of on the cell phone photography front, or should I say phones with cameras in them, because the camera quality in cell phones is getting better and better. But I guess Samsung is coming out with their Galaxy 9, which is, I think it comes out this week or next week, which is their competitor to the iPhone X or the iPhone 10 or whatever you want to call it. And it's got some new features on the camera, kind of up in the game on the smartphone photography front, which it's amazing. I mean, the phones in or the cameras in the phones now are, I would put them up as good as a lot of the point and shoot, decent quality point and shoot cameras, digital cameras from a few years ago. The only difference is you can't change the lenses on the cell phones, although that'll probably happen pretty soon. You can get clip-on extension lenses or that type of thing, but the quality of the sensor, cramming all those megapixels onto a little teeny tiny sensor that has to fit in a phone is pretty amazing, actually. And the images that come out of a good smartphone camera can be amazing, really are. And there's lots of people that do all their photography with an iPhone or a smartphone or that type of thing, and get very respectable, high quality results coming out of it. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then just another thing that kind of popped into my mind here was some new lenses are coming out, including a new Sigma lens, which I'll talk about here. It's relatively affordable as lenses go. So it's a new digital lens. And I'll talk a little bit about my updated search on my wide angle lens for the large format, my 4x5 camera. So let's dig into that. We've got a few images shared, I think, to the group. A couple here. I've got a few images. Looks like a couple have been uploaded. So we'll go and talk about that as well. But I'm going to jump into this first one. And this is the film related news, and it's for us, for those of us that are film photographers. This is always good news, even if you don't use that particular film. Whenever a company comes out with a new film, or like I said, reintroduces a new film, it's a positive thing. And what it is, and this has been widely reported just the last few days, and I've been so busy with work that I haven't really been keeping up on the news feeder, the news feeds like I usually have. I've just been so busy. But this is, I'll share the screen and we'll talk a little bit about this. Kodak is bringing back T-Max 3200, which is very interesting. Like I said, it's always good news when new films come out or old films get re-released. And the T-Max P3200 or TMZ, it's a multi-speed panachromatic black and white negative film. So for those of us who shoot film and for those of us that like black and white, we've got another option here. A nice, fast film that has a good reputation. It says it's is a nominal speed of 800, but the P designation means that it's designed to be push processed to 3200 or higher. So what is that? 800. So it's a nominal speed of 800. So to go to 3200 is what, 2 stops? So sounds like it's can be reliably pushed 2 stops. It says the film excels while shooting in low light or when capturing fast action. It's ideally suited for handheld street scenes, night work, and in dimly lit venues where you can't use a flash. So that's exciting. I need to do more 35 millimeter photography, film photography. I've got a couple decent cameras. I've got my father's Nicormat camera, which is from 1968, and it's a fantastic camera. I had it kind of tuned up and rebuilt a few years ago, and it's essentially brand new for being a 50-year-old camera. But this would be a lot of fun to get out and do that. So I was very interested when I saw this. You said Kodak Alaris is the new company, which came about after they filed bankruptcy in 2012. Paid. Okay, so they're talking about Kodak Alaris and now So Kodak Alaris and Eastman Kodak are the two companies. They split apart, and now they share ownership of the Kodak brand. It's no secret that we've been looking for opportunities to expand the portfolio, says President Dennis Ulbrich. Darkroom photography is making a comeback. Yes, it is. And black and white film sales are clearly on a positive trajectory. So that's always encouraging. It says, given these encouraging market trends, we believe P3200 will be a great addition to the lineup. They have also announced, at CES, which was last month, that it's bringing Ektachrome back from the dead. That the reboot was still on track in November 2017. So I shoot Ektar on my 4x5. It's a very nice color film. But Ektachrome went away. I think it went away in 2013 or 14, but they're bringing it back. And so the T-Max P3200 is going to be available in 35mm rolls starting in March, so basically in the next week or two, and will be released other places around the world. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm very happy to see film. It's been having a little bit of a revival the last 8 or 10 years anyway, but that kind of confirms that it's maybe not just a trendy thing. It still is kind of trendy. I mean, 98% of photographers are still almost exclusively digital, probably. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's way up there in the percentage of people that are digital compared to film. Which, 20 years ago, it was the other way around. In 1998, you're probably a few percentage of people that had digital cameras. Everybody else had film. It's flip-flopped almost 180 degrees in that amount. But film always had its loyalists, and over the last 5 or 6 years, maybe 10 years, it's gotten another foothold, and which is exciting. It's just a different type of photography, especially if you develop your own film and go through the process of developing, scanning, or printing in the darkroom, which is something I want to hopefully get done here this spring. But that whole process, even just the process of using a manual or semi-automatic film camera and going through the steps and exposing the film and having to wait until it's developed to see if you got a shot or not, is just a much more, it's a completely different experience than digital. I enjoy digital photography a lot, and but I enjoy film as much or more, and I've shot more film in the last couple of years than I have digital. The creativity, film is just one of those things that it seems like I've been more creative with it, and there we go. I hear myself in stereo. Hey, there's Joe.
Hey, what's up, man?
Blabbering on about film. Yeah, here's a guy with all these film cameras, and he doesn't use them. Man,
I got a bunch of them too. I've got, I haven't used a single one of them. Not
I was just saying that Kodak is coming out with T-Max. But they're calling P3200, so it's 800 speed black and white film, but it's designed to be pushed to a 3200. So, which is kind of exciting for people that are into concert photography with film and street photography, that type of thing.
Yep.
It should be kind of cool. So interesting. I'll probably get a roll. I'll probably try to run a roll through the Nichromat and try it out. It'll be kind of fun. So you enjoying a quality malt beverage?
Yeah, we're having a McCracken there. Not a McCracken, a Kraken.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you still
with the what is this? Festi cherry, feisty cherry.
Okay. Yeah, I got a bottle of Kraken a couple weeks ago. Just the regular one, I guess, the same one you got, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, this is my.
It's a nice flavorful rum, sipping rum that is reasonably priced. It's great for sipping while you process film.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, look at that! Look who's on. Maybe. Hey, there's Frank.
Yeah, you got the Frank guy. Look at that.
There's a longtime friend of the show.
Yeah.
Back. Glad to have you, man.
The prodigal son returns.
Yes.
I haven't been in a couple of weeks myself, so
Frank's been out of the. Well, it's probably actually been a good thing because we've kind of been off the rails here for the last year or so. But it's glad to have you back, Frank. Good to have you back.
I almost forgot. I woke up. I just kind of passed out on my couch, watching YouTube, and then all of a sudden I realized, hey, it's about that time.
Yeah.
3
o'clock there. Yeah, 3 o'clock for you guys right on the West Coast.
Yes, it is.
3 or 3:30. Yeah. So good. Yeah, it's good to have you back, and hopefully you can pop in more often here. We're doing still talking photography, doing the same thing we were doing before. So
just trying to get my camera to be set up right. If I can actually.
Yeah. I know. Try to get it tilted up. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Better. Before I used to have a monitor. I don't know. I'll show you. It's sitting right there.
Over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just put it on top. But now I got this beast.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Is a 4K monitor, and loving it.
Mm-hmm.
Really
hard to mount the camera on that.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
So it doesn't have a camera on it?
No. I bought this it's a BenQ 27-inch.
Okay.
And I bought it specifically for photo editing, and I have this webcam, so I don't need a camera.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Yeah, that's a nice monitor though. That's a good quality monitor.
I'm happy with it.
Yours is a 4K, isn't it, Joe?
5K, yeah.
5K, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you had to be one more than me, huh?
Yeah, it's the whatever's built into the iMac, and it's the 5K monitor there that's in the iMac.
Yeah, and the cameras are pretty cool as well. This is only standard HD 1080p.
Yeah, that's what mine is. Yeah, it's just a basic little Logitech camera. I've had it for 3 or 4 years, and works fine.
So like a 920 or something.
Yeah, I think
that's what I have. That's what this is.
Yeah, I mean it was $50 at the time, and it works fine. It does perfectly fine. I mean, I don't want too much detail. I might frighten the viewers.
So. Just saying, right? Yeah, we don't want we don't want to get crazy here.
Yeah. But we were just talking. I don't know if you saw before you guys popped in. I was talking about Kodak coming out with T-Max. They're coming back out with the T-Max. They're calling the P3200 black and white film, which is kind of interesting.
Any of you guys shoot that before?
I never did, and so I'm thinking it might be worthwhile. I mean, it's nominally 800 speed, but they're saying can be reliably pushed to at least they're saying at least 3200. Okay. So
yeah, I saw little blurbs and something about they're putting whoever owns Kodak now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Kodak, Polaris. Yeah.
When it was out with Kodak by Kodak, I shot it quite a lot when I was in photojournalism school. When I was shooting basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
I'd push that to 6400 all the time.
And the red roll issues. Yeah.
Wow.
You've just got to be really easy on the developing. Just take it slow. Maybe even use AccuFine to lower the grain, and you'll be good.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to trying it. I think it'd be fun to do. I've got that Nichromat 35 millimeter camera with a nice, pretty fast 50 millimeter lens. It's a nice walk around camera. That's a good setup for just basic, walk around street photography or that type of stuff. And a higher speed black and white film would be fun. I haven't done anything used much more than 400 in there, but I think it would be. Yeah. It'd be a fun one to try. Yeah.
Another one, if you're interested in pushing, is Ilford, the HP5. Not the Delta, but the HP5. It has more latitude than the Delta. The Delta has a much tighter contrast range, but the HP5 pushes to 1600 quite well.
Okay. Yeah, I've used. I've shot HP5, but only at only at 400. I haven't pushed it, but it's. I think it'd definitely be fun. I mean, there's definitely times where you wish you had a lot more than 400 speed. So, it's just nice to see them bringing it back. I wonder how much it is. They didn't say how much it's gonna, what the cost is, but it's got to be what, $5 or $6 a roll at least, probably.
At least. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 7 or 8. Because it bumps up, cost bumps up quite a bit when you start increasing the speed on there. So, but yeah, that's kind of cool to see that. And I know.
I remember constantly switching out rolls of film. Shoot 6 frames on 100, and then I'm going to have to do something else, and I want to use a roll 3200. I don't know if you guys ever had a run into situations where you're constantly rewinding back and forth, putting the rolls of film back and forth, and
not me, that's for sure. You gotta.
It was like, okay, ISO increase. That's all.
Yeah, that's about. Yeah,
you never were into film.
No, I mean back in the day when you had to be, but even then I didn't develop.
Yeah. The habits I formed with shooting film are, I don't know. I think somewhat beneficial for me now now that I'm shooting digital, because with film you have to be so conservative because you only have 36 frames. That's it. I mean, you can't spray and pray. You have to be a lot more technical. And exact with what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's even worse when you're shooting medium format, as you know, and it's even worse when you're shooting large format, because you got a film holder with just 2 pictures on it.
Yeah. That's been the most fun I've had with the large format, is the extreme slowness of the process.
Right.
And it is definitely slow and deliberate. You can't rush it at all.
Yeah.
And that's the best part and the worst part about it at the same time. I mean, there's just you miss a lot of stuff. If you're trying, if that's all you had available to you. I mean, but it also forces you just to be a lot more selective too, I guess.
Yeah. The things you shoot are completely different. How you shoot is completely different.
Yeah.
I know the last time I was on, you guys were Mark, we were talking about getting a 4x5, but apparently you have one now.
Yep. Yeah.
What did you end up getting?
I got the Chamonix. Which one model? FN2 or something. But kind of it was a new camera. But just the standard. It's got. Well, let's see if I got it here. Hang on a second. I'll grab it and show it to you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool camera. He's had it for a while already. Have you got puts his headset in there.
There we go.
So you haven't got a case for it yet, huh, Mark? You haven't found like a proper.
No, I just use my little backpack, my little camera.
I noticed.
It's a compact. I mean. This is about the size of like a school backpack, but there's the bottom container in there. So there's the camera, and I've got my light meter in there, and I've got room for the camera and the light meter in the bottom, and then the top section will hold the lens or lenses. I've still got room for 2 lenses. I've got the dark cloth fits in here, so there's a dark cloth.
Okay.
And I can fit a couple of holders in there. So
you don't feel the need to get like a hard case, huh? You feel like you're good with that?
Yeah, I mean, because this is like a little backpack. So when you're out and about, it just makes it easier to carry.
Cool.
To carry it. But yeah, this is it. So it's got the aluminum base, wood frame. So yeah,
it's a handsome camera.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. I really enjoyed it. It's well built.
It better be for that. You paid some good cash for that thing.
Yeah, this was what was this? This was $900. So
Wow.
I thought it was
Yeah.
about $1,000. Yeah.
yeah, a little under $1,000. But you know what's interesting? I was definitely open to buying. I mean, I got my lens used, and I got my light meter. I got one of the the Pentax light meters, spot meter.
That's
I got
good.
that used. But the camera, for a used 4x5 in good shape, they were running anywhere from $400 to $700 anyway. For something that was 15, 20 years old and had been used, and for ones that were in good shape, they were closer to 700 than $400. It seemed like, for ones that had good front and rear movements and all that, and used copies of the newer models were within 5 or 10% of what the new price was, and you couldn't find many of those. So I just made a decision to get a brand new, to get a new camera, and then get the lenses obviously used. And
when I was shooting film, I was always drooling over the 7.6 models.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pretty cameras.
Yeah. It's a fun camera to use. It's good looking. I mean, it's better looking than me, that's for sure. And but what's interesting? I
don't need to say anything, but
yeah, well,
Well, you look really good with the cover over, Mark.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's an improvement. But what's almost more fun than using the camera itself is talking to all the people that can't believe that they're actually seeing somebody using that kind of camera. Right. You have to be open to talking to people if you're going to use any film camera, but especially, you get into, the camera with the bellows and that type of stuff. I mean, just everybody that walks by is like, what? Do they still make it? Does that work? And is that a real camera? And how do you use it? And all that stuff. So, it's not just the time it takes to set up the shot. It's the extra time that you spend talking, explaining what it is that you're doing, so which is fun. I mean, it's just it's a great way. I mean, man, this would be a great way to meet chicks, I would think. You go out with a big camera like this. I mean, you
just depends on the age of the chick, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So meeting chicks sounds great, but if they're all 20 years your senior, it's like, well,
yeah, that's true. I guess it depends.
I mean, but that might be your thing, though. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing like a little cougar now and then. I like cats. Cougars are nice.
I mean, hey, the older the berry, right?
Yeah. But no, it's a really fun camera, and I'm enjoying it. I've done, I don't know, the last year, I've done some digital, but almost everything that I've actually taken the effort to go out and photograph and process and post has been film, and almost exclusively large format. But I haven't done a lot. I've just been so busy the last year. I've managed to get out a few times, but when I have gone out specifically for photography, it's been with the large format. So it's been really, really enjoyable. But still use digital. It's they both have their place, and but just from a creative side of things, I'm just really, really enjoying the film, and especially the large format. I just wish I was able to get out and use it more than I have, but it's definitely a process, from setting up the shot, focusing, doing all that, and then developing and scanning and touching up and all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely a big commitment of time, but it's enjoyable.
How much time do you think it usually takes you to set the tripod, By the time you set the tripod and click the shutter, how much time do you think is it?
Average for a first shot, like if I walk up to a scene and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to photograph this. That's probably that first sheet, exposed is probably average for me is probably 15 minutes.
That's what I would guess.
It's been that's down from about 30 the first few times, just because it was all completely new. But once you get the shot, the main thing composed, then I can get a second or third within another 5 minutes or so, assuming it's essentially the same view, but maybe just tilting the camera one way or the other, or that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, probably 15 minutes on the average, and so yeah, it's definitely not it's a point and shoot. What you say, Joe? It's a point and wait and shoot.
Yeah,
it's not a point and shoot.
Yeah, it's a point and eventually shoot.
Yeah. But I can't imagine. I mean, how much time it takes for a 4x5 people that are shooting 8x10 or larger. It's just crazy. How much time and effort and expense goes into that, because 4x5 sheets of film are, black and white, normally $1, for like FP4, which is what I shoot. Black and white is, it's $1 a sheet. And Ektar, which is the main color, is $4 a sheet. But you bump up to 8x10, and all of a sudden the black and white is now $5 a sheet, and the color is probably $20 a sheet.
Slide is even worse.
What's that?
Slide film is probably even more.
Yeah. Yep. People that shoot Velvia, a lot of landscape guys that shoot 8x10 will shoot Velvia, and it's probably $20-$30 a sheet. If you can get it, you've got to bring it in from Japan. You can't get it in America, so people are buying it from Japan and bringing it in. So yeah, and I thought about going to a larger, but I'm like, there's a budget constraint here, and I can get the whole large format experience with a 4x5.
The thing is, when you say I want to go up to an 8x10 or 11x14, do you do so because you have a need, or is it because of the curiosity factor?
I think for me it was more that initial curiosity, and I kind of, do I want to do 4x5, or maybe I'll bump up to 8x10, and then I took a look at what not necessarily, the camera is going to be more expensive to begin with, but it's all the reusables that cost the money, and I'm like, okay, so here's my budget. Here's what I can spend on photography stuff, and how much do I want to spend on large format film as a portion of that, that pie, of that money that I can, feel reasonably comfortable about spending. Because I mean, it's total discretionary spending. And I'm like, okay, so if I want to do large format, I'm going to get the same experience with a 4x5 as I would an 8x10. And just from a practicality standpoint of being able to scan the stuff in, develop it, all that thing, it's just, once you start looking at the extra cost, bumping up to an 8x10, I thought about it for a day, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. I don't have that much money or time or to devote to that. And I don't regret getting a 4x5 at all. I mean, the quality of the images, if I do my job, the image quality is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning.
Yeah, and so for what I'm going to use it for, the 4x5 gives me everything I wanted, that I thought I would get by going to large format. Everything that I thought I would be that's different and more fun and that type of thing is all there in a 4x5. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. As a matter of fact, I know what I am missing. I'm missing a lot more headache and expense by sticking to the 4x5 than by going up to the 8x10. So,
yeah, I had an 8x10 once.
Yeah, and did you enjoy using it?
For a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to realize this one was an old Calumet. It was made out of steel.
Ooh. So it's a big studio camera, basically, right?
It's a studio camera, but it was what I could afford at the time. I think I paid like $500-600 for the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it didn't come with the lens though, but this thing weighed about 35 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So if I couldn't, literally for me, if I couldn't park next to it, I wasn't thinking I was going to use it. It was just too damn big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got overzealous. I went to an Oakland museum and saw a gallery showing of Ansel Adams, and
oh, okay.
yeah, in most photographs, when you bring the image closer and closer, it gets less and less clear.
Mm-hmm.
Not this one. I mean, the closer you got to the shot, you saw the mountain, then all of a sudden you saw the trees and the rocks and then the individual cracks in the rocks, and
yeah,
it just got more and more detailed as you got in. It was so opposite to what I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then I went out. That's when they used to have the camera swaps.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Which I think are pretty much a dead.
Yeah. Well, that's actually where Wes is now. He's he mentioned last week that he probably wouldn't be here this week because he was going to Orlando for a camera show. Old camera show. So he's probably going to show up next week with some new old cameras, I'm sure. Because he's driving all the way to Orlando. I think it was in Orlando, and he's in Gainesville, so he's got he's got a few hour drive. So
right. What was it? Wasn't like Photokina? Was it last week or this week?
Photokina was. Is it this week?
I thought there was some photography show because I know Canon made some announcements.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can talk about that. Let me see. I'm just typing. Photo.
I think it was. I don't know if it was Photokino. You know what I'm saying? But I think it was. I think there was a photo show last week or this week.
Yeah, I think Photokina is in September. I just looked at it, but yeah, there was probably something that came up. But yeah, we can talk about that. Canon made some new announcements. Are they redoing some things, adding some new cameras?
Yeah, yeah, and then Sigma's still, man, they're really blowing up with those art lenses, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I saw is they've got a 14-24 2.8 art lens, which is only $12.99.
They're expensive, man. Yeah. And some are, some are a little better than others. They've got a leaked right now. I'm looking at a leaked image of their 105. So that'd be a
ooh, okay. So just
is that probably a macro lens? That focal length, or is it a portrait?
I don't see that it says it's going to be. Well, the specs it says should leak soon. So this is a leak. So
okay, yeah.
But it's a prime, which is, a lot of them have been zooms.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Short range, short zoom.
Yeah. The one I have is a zoom.
What do you have? Is it the 18-24? Is that what you have?
It's a
18-35 or something.
What is that? 55 or something to 150 or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay, so you've got a mid range. It's not a wide angle zoom. It's more of a mid range to short telephoto zoom. Okay.
Yeah, it's for the crop sensor, and it's the equivalent of the 70-200.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But on the crop sensor.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing. They're really Sigma, Tamron are coming up with some really competitive lenses now. And
yeah, it's good to see Sigma, really be passionate about what they put out, because I was working at the camera shops in the late 90s. Sigma was something that you bought because you couldn't afford a Tamron or a Nikon Canon.
Yeah.
And because you definitely wouldn't buy it because of its quality, and those things most of them were junk lenses.
Yeah.
But wow, now they're coming out with some stuff that is really desirable.
Yeah, that seems to be the I don't have a lens. I've shot through one of their on a French camera, but yeah, the word seems to be that they're basically as good as Canon or Nikon lenses now, with substantially less, even when new. Probably 20 to 25% less. I mean, that seems to be the
it's the 50-100 that I got. But it's the 1.8. It's a 1.8. So, And in this particular lens, when you compare it to the 70-200, other than it's not, I don't think it's as weatherproofed as that one. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
but
yeah.
just as far as sharpness and stuff, it's better in a lot of ways than the Canon. But it's, when you start getting into all the other stuff, I mean, Canon blows it away with all the water, proofing and stuff that Canon does.
Yeah, yeah. But the reality is, I mean, especially for the type of work you do, you don't need weatherproofing.
No.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, that's...
if I do, there's problems, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Your photography is not what you can be doing if you need weatherproofing in the indoor studio. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Although I have been thinking about a few ideas that would involve water. Kind of intrigued by doing that. I've watched a few other photographers shoot water with people indoors. You know what I'm saying? And it comes out pretty cool.
Yeah. That's you got to really be. Isn't lighting really the key with that?
Yeah.
You got and catching things at the right spot and doing all that.
Yeah, you got to have your strobe game's got to be on. Yeah. But it's not that difficult. I mean, if you're used to shooting with strobes, yeah, you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? You'll get it. You'll nail it. It's just a matter of, being used to it. But man, I'm looking at their lineup, man. They've got a ton of Art Series lenses now, man.
Yeah, they've come out with a lot. They came out with the first one a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago was their first art lens.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. Are they doing have they done much stuff for
I'm looking at 13 lenses right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah. Yeah, because they've got, let me see, you've got an 85, a 35, a 14, a 20, a 24, a 30, a 50, a 135, 12 to 24, 18 to 35, 24 to 35, 24 to 105, and the 50 to 100.
Wow. And these are all for either crop or full frame, right?
Right.
Did they do anything? Did they do anything for Micro Four Thirds? Have they done anything?
I wouldn't know.
I should know, and I don't. I just haven't been. I've been happy with the lenses I have for my Micro Four. All my disposable camera budget has gone to the large format and film.
But they are literally predominantly all. I'm looking at one f4. There's one f2. Other than that, they're all f 1.4s or 1.8. But the majority of them are 1.4.
Right.
Yeah, which is they've got that extra half a stop or whatever over the 1.8, which is it makes a big difference. I think and especially when you put that on a 1, and when you put a 1.4 on a crop sensor, that gives you the equivalent of probably like a 1.8 or something. I mean, that's when you go on a crop sensor, like from a depth of field perspective. That helps compensate for the crop factor too.
You were talking about those concerts and stuff earlier, man. Dear God, you put one of these 24s or the 30s with the 1.4. You're shooting with the low light sensitivity these cameras have now. At least digital. I'm not a film expert by any means, but man, you're really getting a lot of stuff. I mean, you're
you drop a 1.4 lens on there with a camera that can shoot well at 12,000.
Yeah, I mean,
you're set. Yeah.
And they do. These cameras now, very usable quality. Very usable quality at 12,000. It's crazy to say, but they do.
Yeah. No, it's well, that's one thing that they have improved tremendously is the image quality at the higher ISOs. And I don't know what they needed to do to make that happen, but a few years ago you didn't want to go over 800, and now you can reliably get good results at 3200, 64.
I finally stepped up my game, Frank, and got a new camera. So I'm not shooting with the 40D anymore. I've got a 70 Mark II. Yeah, no, I don't. Right, yeah, I bumped it up, and yeah, I went newer by 2 years, and I got me a 50D. Yeah, yeah. Actually, thought about it back in the day. Yeah, a couple years back, I thought about a 50D. I actually did. Yeah, but no, I stepped it up to a 7D Mark II.
That's a beautiful camera.
It is. It's fantastic. Loving that camera.
Yeah.
The focusing system is what I really wanted. I really wanted that focusing system.
So have you got it figured out yet? I mean, you've had it for about a year, right?
Yeah, man. Wow, time flies, right? Yeah, you know, and then I haven't been shooting as much too, isn't that something? But you know, I'm taking a page from the financial planning side of things, and so I've been working on, you know, it almost feels like it's one thing or the other, right? Because photography costs so much money that you're almost like, okay, I'm going to put this to the side for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because this ain't making me money. It's actually costing me money. You know what I'm saying? I love doing it, but it's costing me money. And because it's right now it's a very expensive hobby. You know, right now I've got my eyeball on like another $1,500 worth of gear. You know what I'm saying? You know, just strobes and stuff again, you know, and I'm like, oh, you know, but it's like a disease too. You're like, oh man, they finally lowered the price of those strobes. Yeah, they're only $300 a piece now. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
what a deal.
What a deal. I could get 3 of them now. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, come on. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of funny for me. It's you know, you look at some of this really high end stuff, like some of the like Broncolor. Broncolor heads can go for $5,000 a pop, and that's just the strobe head. So you know, you look and drill over that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden you see a White Lightning kit. You know, four lights, umbrellas, stands for like $399, and it's a no-brainer. It's so affordable. Light is light, regardless if it's coming out of a $5,000 head or a $300 head.
Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, and especially, you know, the White Lightnings are old, but still they're damn good, man. I mean, they were reliable for a long time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just was looking at some earlier today. Actually, the White Lightnings. Now that you mention it, it's kind of funny, but. I mean, like you said, that's the thing too with light. You see a lot of people trending towards even the old, just the old flashes. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people shoot manual. I know I shoot manual. I like shooting manual. So when you're shooting like that, all you need is just a trigger. You just need a trigger just to trigger the damn thing, because you're gonna set up those old speed lights on manual anyway. So
you know, it's a lot less expensive way to get into it. If you shoot a manual, you don't need all the latest stuff. You just get, like I said, an old speed light. And as long as it works and you got a trigger, that's all you need.
Yeah, you got some real, you know, you still got some speed light geeks out there, and they'll use stuff that's old as heck, man. You know, because they don't really care. I mean, you just need a light. You know, light is light, and as long as it's putting off the power you need, you know, and some of them still work good as slaves. I mean, you know, you could put them on a slave and just let them fire with the other lights, you know, just.
Especially if you're shooting manual. If you don't need the advanced TTL, why spend the money for a feature you don't need?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Joe McNally, you're going to be buying 40, you know, SB 600s all day long and be using them too.
But it's easy to, I mean, it's on any hobby or anything that you're passionate about, it's easy to fall into, you know, the gear acquisition syndrome, you know, gas. And,
and you know who's got it bad too is, you know, because I have to deal with these people a lot, is makeup artists, and they've got it bad. I mean, makeup, they spend so much money on makeup, it's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they really do, man. I mean, I don't know if you've ever, you know, dealt with anybody, or, you know, how much your wife wears or whatever the case may be, but man, a simple lipstick can cost them people $50.
See, that's, you know? I've saved so much money over the last 20 years because Pam doesn't wear makeup.
Yeah, those, that's something that I have to deal with, hiring makeup artists. I try to keep up with the trends with all the different sides of portrait photography. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What hairstylists go through and what all the different groups go through, but makeup, just wow, they're the ones that spend the same, if not more, because they're using something that eventually runs out. You know what I'm saying? And they always have to have, so they.
Yeah, and there's always probably always a new twist on whatever it was.
Oh yeah, there's always the latest lashes, the latest this, the latest that. So yeah, the money they spend on stuff is just crazy. $100 for some little compact like that and stuff, just nuts. You're like, whew, yeah.
So you're not gonna be you're not going to make it as a makeup artist if you're buying all your makeup at the dollar store, is what you're saying.
Some do, man. Some go to Walmart. They have they really specialize, and I appreciate those people, because there's some photographers out there that have, because it's hard to find a good makeup artist, and then to find the good ones quickly blow up, and then before you know it, they can't work with you anymore.
Yep.
Most of us can only shoot on weekends. Weekends is their busy time, of course. They would rather book a wedding than to book your couple of stupid shoots. You know what I'm saying? So, it's tricky, man. So some photographers have actually just learned how to do makeup themselves. I've already got enough of an expensive hobby. I don't need another one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it is amazing, no matter what kind of hobby you're into, or if you're into photography, what kind of photography you're into, there's always something newer and better and greater, and guaranteed to improve your photography by X number of % instantaneously, and it can be really hard.
Like, Mark, what do you, for instance, even though I'm not doing makeup, I'm not going to do that, but I still buy a lot of, believe it or not, women's clothing, because, I have certain outfits for certain girls, or certain body shapes, or certain style, that I want to shoot. And, so I need to sometimes have wardrobe. Is there anything that goes along with what your style for what you do that you might need to carry, something that's not kind of non-photography related but supports what you do? You know what I'm saying?
What, like for landscape photography? Not really. That's the because the models for landscape is whatever's out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I mean, I guess for the people that are really into, landscape photography, the thing that they add on is all the equipment that they need to, backpack into the wilderness, so they've got all the camping equipment, all the stuff that they outfit their vehicles. There's the guy I follow who does, he does 8x10 photography. And so he goes to Death Valley, goes to Zion, that type of stuff. And he camps all the time. So he's got everything that he needs in order to be self-sufficient for a week out in the middle of Death Valley. So.
Who do you follow?
Ben Horn. Have you?
Oh yeah. I got him on my YouTube.
Yeah, and he does but he does some amazing photography. He's pretty much 8x10 all the time, but he always does. He'll go out and camp or backpack into the back away from everything to get the shots he needs, and so he has to, and he goes out for a week or so at a time, so he's got all that money invested in the camping equipment.
Right. Yeah. It kind of like your guys that like, for instance, might shoot a lot of snowboarding or something like that. Like, they end up, like you say, into a lot of outdoorsy sort of gear. There's whatever they drive might end up supporting that Land Rover or whatever that. So everything that they end up living is geared towards that as well. So their life, I mean, there might be geared toward that as well. So it's
and it's not just the equipment for the particular hobby. It's all the other stuff. So yeah, for you, it's the the makeup, all the studio lighting. I mean, I guess that's part of photography, but that's separate than the camera.
Well, my house, I
Yeah.
bought my house because I can shoot in it. I have a nice big space that enables me. The minute I walked in, I was like, oh, I can shoot here. You know what I'm saying? So Mark knows I claim 40% of this house on my taxes. It's it's a loss for me because I shoot here as well, and I don't make money, of course. So the furniture I buy, it's part of my lifestyle as well, because I don't buy anything too big or anything that I can't just move around in a second, because I like to shoot in that space. So, my hobby has kind of taken over my life as well, in a way.
Yep. And I think it is for most people that are into, if people are into, maybe they're triathletes or that type of thing. I mean, they structure, people that do Ironman triathlons.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to make a dime on it. They spend tens of thousands of dollars a year supporting their addiction to
or the money they make goes right back into the sport.
Yeah. I mean, you buy, you got the bike, all the running equipment, then people will structure their careers and their jobs around what can I do that will allow me to dedicate the time to training, because I need to train 20 hours a week if I'm going to be able to complete an Ironman. So I change careers, or I take one job over another because it's going to give me that. And maybe the downside is I'm not getting paid as much, but it gives me the time I need, so.
But you're doing what you love, so.
Yeah, that's exactly
the payoff. And if you're decent enough, you can get a sponsor and don't have to worry about your job anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, but I mean, there's a lot of weekend warriors out there. We went to this past week, we went to have you guys ever heard of the term mammal? Not like relating to the
the actual mammals.
Mammal, yeah.
Like the third grade here, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, have you guys ever heard the term mammal tossed around?
No.
No. Okay. Well, what it is it's slang or a description for it's called mammal is for middle-aged men in Lycra. And it's an acronym for middle-aged guys that are obsessive about riding bikes.
Oh.
So there was a movie we went to get some cycling buddies. That we went to a movie on Wednesday. It was a movie called Mammal. It was a documentary about.
Okay, I was gonna say when you started breaking it down like that, I was just gonna say, God, I could have swore I just saw a movie or something that was named Mammal.
Yeah, yep. It was an independent, kind of documentary. It was out of Australia actually, but it kind of went into the subculture of middle-aged guys that are into riding bikes, and we ride a bike, you kind of wear Lycra, and the whole thing is, middle-aged guys are not necessarily the trimmest people in the world, so they try to fit into the Lycra, but it went into the whole lifestyle. These guys that are just totally obsessed. They've got to ride all day, every day. They're never going to make any money at it. I mean, they're just how they structure everything around that passion, that thing that they decide that they want to do. And we were all laughing because all of us were middle-aged guys that either wear Lycra currently or used to at some point in our lives, and we're like, hey, that's us.
Right. I used to get a leather jacket, pair of blue jeans, pair of boots, and ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And get my middle-aged fix that way.
Yeah. Well, it's like one guy said, he says, I could have spent $80,000 on a red Porsche, but instead I spent $10,000 on my racing bike or whatever.
Yeah, and that was just a frame, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those guys have dropped thousands of tens of thousands. Yeah, probably $10,000 for a fully a bike that like replicates what the pros ride.
Yeah, but you can look that thing up.
The pros don't pay for their $10,000 bikes. You do.
Yeah, that's the difference, and that's why they're so expensive.
That's why you're paying 10, so the pros can get it for free.
Yeah.
That's exactly. But the whole it's any hobby. I mean, if people are totally into it and they want to do it exactly like their heroes, like you, Frank, when you saw the images, Ansel Adams, it's like 8x10. I'm going to get that. I'm going to do that, and it's me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I got into large format was because I really appreciate that type of photography. So I'm trying to emulate the people I look up to in photography.
But the thing I failed to do is understand that photography, and this is going back years, so this is when I was still in school. Understand that photography is a process, and if the tool is getting in the way of your process, then you should reconsider which tool you're using. I'd love to take a picture like Ansel Adams, but the 8x10 was so cumbersome, so heavy, that it literally prevented me from actually even wanting to go through the process in the first place.
Yeah, it had the exact opposite effect of what you got it for.
Right.
That's funny you talk about it like that, Frank, because that's so true. Because what's happening with myself right now, Mark knows, because I've mentioned it to him. Part of my process, and it's weird too, because like the better you get, kind of the higher up the ladder you kind of go, the figurative ladder, and the better you get in what I'm doing, the more higher caliber, I guess you would say, models contact you and, hey, would you like to shoot and this and that. And of course, explaining this to someone that isn't in photography is insane, because they're like, are you kidding me? You what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you, out of your mind? Because the thought that I actually pay these girls, and I'm the one that's out all kinds of cash, you know what I'm saying? And they basically reap all the rewards is insane. But that's kind of that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. The tool, in my case, is the models, and it's an honor to get the chance to shoot some of these models that have been in some of these famous magazines. But at the same time, you're like, what am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is costing me. So I've slowed down in shooting, because like when I was in New Mexico, now I'm in Arizona. I don't know if you know that or not, but when I was in New Mexico, I had a lot of contact with a lot of models that were just like myself. Hey, I'm decent at what I do, but I'm never gonna make well, I ain't gonna say never, but I'm more than likely never gonna make a living off of it. And so we would just get together, shoot, and have a great time and get some great images. Having a harder time with that here in Phoenix, because it's a bigger market. It's closer to LA, which is a huge market. And, but that's also given me the opportunity to shoot some of these higher end girls. But it's that tool is getting in the way, because I'm discouraged from shooting right now. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous,
It's you start out and you get into something, get into photography because some people get into it because of the technology, especially with digital cameras. I mean, they're geeks and they get into it. But if you get into photography because you like the creative process, creating something and all that stuff that goes with it, it's almost, and I think that's why I like film, because it's back to basics. It is, and it's easy to get caught up in kind of, ratcheting up the whiz bang, high tech features and stuff. And when at the end of the day, if you just kind of take it back to the basics. So like you, Joe, I mean, you're in a situation now where, you've got the opportunity to work with models with a bigger name behind them, but it costs a lot more, both in energy and money to do that. So you're like, well, okay, do I want to pursue that? Or maybe if I can go back and find that subset of models, even in Phoenix, that are 2 levels down, where you can shoot more, which would allow you to indulge your hobby more and get more enjoyment out of it when you did it, and save more money, and not spend as much. So you feel better about you doing
shooting.
You kind of get back to the core of why you're doing it.
You just nailed it on the head right there, Mark. That's exactly what I've been like, this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing? And I'm just evaluating, like, it gets in the way. Just this past week, you know, I've been contacted by 3 more girls that, you know, worked in Playboy. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, you're honored, but at the same time, you know, okay, and then let's say you're like, okay, let's set up a shoot and let's do this for blah 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 day. You set on terms, right? So you have like your figurative contract going. So when you do shoot with these people, there's just like what Patrick experiences, there's pressure, man, because now I got money on the line here. You know what I'm saying? And I better get a shot. You know what I'm saying? I better get something that's fantastic. Otherwise, you know, it's like a waste of not only my money, but my time, her time. Like, you know, it's
energy. Yeah, I mean, all the stuff that goes into it. Yeah.
That's why you took all those pictures of all hundreds and hundreds of other people for nothing, you know, for prints, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So when you do confront these high priced models, you know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah. No, it's true.
It's true in your portfolio. But shooting these people, shooting these people that have been in Playboy, it gives you something intangible. I think which is the clout that comes with having someone that's recognizable or of a caliber of beauty that you just don't find in 99% of the people.
Yeah. It's a matter of balancing that out. You know, do you shoot all the Playboy models all the time, or maybe do you do that, you know, a few times a year, and then the rest of the time you're kind of getting back to the core, which is going to make any work you do with the, you know, the models that are maybe a step or two or more below, it's going to be better for you and for them. They're going to get better quality stuff for their portfolio. You're going to get opportunity to take what you learned by shooting the high end and apply it, you know.
That's exactly where I've been like, you know what, all I need is to get back to shooting just beautiful amateur people again. You know what I'm saying? I can coach them to where I need to be. You know, for what I do, I love the close-up portrait. I just love that. You know what I'm saying? And even parts work. You know, I even love just doing detail, what Pat would call detail shots of a car, right? I love doing that with the body and with the face, and I mean, there's beautiful people everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And it's a matter of the way that I see them, and I can generally get, you know. So I've been like, what am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? So there is a huge part of that that's like,
you got to balance that out. You definitely, like you said, Frank, you definitely get the benefit of experience and clout and all the stuff that goes with doing the work, all the hard work before to get to the place where you can have the opportunity to work with a different level. But you can take that and work it backwards too. So you can work with them occasionally, and then take all the knowledge that you gain in there, and then go back to you know, like you said, the beautiful, talented amateurs, and work with them and be able to take your knowledge and help them grow as models, and they're going to get a result that's better than you would have given them, you know, 5 or 6 years ago before you had the opportunity to shoot some of the higher stuff.
There's as a matter of fact, there's supposed to be a girl here today, an amateur that I was going to fly in here, because I'm like, you know what, why not give some of these girls the same opportunity that the pros get, you know? So I've been in touch with a few girls, and I've already had to cancel a few flights, and it's not that big a deal. You know how Southwest works. As long as I cancel early, I'm not really losing my money. So I don't mind that part necessarily. So, you know, I'll offer them, hey, I'll fly you down here. You know what I'm saying? I'll pay for a meal. I'll pay for your flight, you know, just kind of an overnight thing. We'll shoot, boom, 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 boom. I'll give you a chance to, you know, have a rental car, go check out Phoenix as much as you want. You know, you can crash here, take off in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Same sort of opportunity that the other girls get. And, you know, and what a result you'll get. You know what I'm saying? From someone getting an opportunity like that, they're just like, wow, fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, that could be something that it helps them jump up a level if they want to do that. You know, and if not, then they have a good experience. You get the opportunity to do and it works all the way around. But yeah, it's a tough balance, you know, between allowing your passion to turn into an obsession, or something where your enthusiasm for something becomes so much that it actually starts affecting the whole reason why you're doing it negatively.
Yeah. It's because it's crazy. I've seen other photographers online that don't shoot people, but they shoot whatever you name it, cars or airplanes or landscapes. But the things, just like Frank said, man, the things that they're letting the different tools get in the way of what they're actually shooting, right? Like they're a little more worried about their image and well, I kind of need to have this gear because it says this about me, right? It just like you said, Mark, in the end, all that, can you look at those images and tell what they were shot with? You know what I'm saying? That's at the end. That's what it's all about. It's about that image.
Camera's just a tool, and the thing, it's not about the camera, to a certain extent. And bicycling, it's not about the bike. Everybody thinks they need that was one of the things in the movie. There's guys like, I need to get these new carbon fiber lightweight wheels, and they were $2,000, and I didn't tell my wife about it. And then the interviewer's like, well, what, it's going to save me this much weight. And it's like, well, actually, if you just lost 20 pounds, it would be a lot better than any of this other.
If you lose some
it's like have a few less beers at the pub, mate.
There's always some asshole in the conversation who has to make perfect sense.
It's like, okay, so you paid $1,000 to save 50 grams, just like one less beer a day and you're fine,
right. Yeah, like hey, look, I'm not gonna slow down my intake of 4 Big Macs a day. What are you, crazy? I'd rather spend 2 G's on the latest, the latest wheel, because that makes more sense. Hello. Beer and wings, I mean, come on,
really, I mean, there's some things that there's the rules. We can't, got to have certain things. There's sacrifices, yes, but not those sacrifices. I mean,
you guys ever buy a piece of equipment that you've been just drooling over that you really thought that was something that would allow you to do great photographs, and then once you get it, you realize that's not the case? You're still taking crap shots or the same quality of camera photos that you're taking, and that extra super duper piece of equipment really didn't make much of a difference.
Yeah, that I noticed it. I can tell you, because I bought that new Sigma Art lens out of pure necessity. I had equipment stolen, so I can definitely say that, because I didn't necessarily want to buy that. I had to buy it to even get to where I was already at, you know what I'm saying, with my kit. And I like the images, but I still always think about my 24-70 that was stolen. You know what I'm saying? I still think about it. I'm like, oh, I missed that lens. You know what I'm saying? And I already had it, already owned it, and I like what I'm getting with my new lens. It's great, but it's super heavy. It's huge. Pat used it that one time and he was like, holy crap, that lens is heavy. You know what I'm saying? But it is insanely sharp. I love what I'm getting with it, but is it that much better, you know what I'm saying, than what I already had? And
and we're masters at justifying, I spent that extra $1,000 for the 2.8 over the 4, but do you, is your photography where you needed that or not, or you got the one lens over? I got the Canon full weather seal lens for my portrait, for my studio shoots, and I could have done fine with it, with the Sigma Art lens, but I have got the white lens now, so now I'm better. But reality is, it didn't do anything. It's still you're still the same photographer you were, whether it's 2.8 or 4.
I don't know that in our crowd, Wes would be the guy that's buying equipment like crazy.
Oh yeah, he buys a lot of stuff. You know?
Yeah, because I think me, Mark, and I would assume Frank might be the same, but I don't necessarily buy things I don't need per se. Like I'm kind of adding to my kit, not like buying something that I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I bought that new camera. And dear God, if anybody can say that my 40D was okay, but I mean the 7D Mark II is
yeah, but that was basically 10 years difference. And I mean, how many? That's 8 or 9 generations different in cameras from your 40D to the 7D Mark II. But if you had bought the 7D Mark II and then turned around 2 months later and bought what would the next, the Mark III or whatever,
right?
You chuck that one away and took a $1,000 loss on it and paid $1,000 more for the next one. So you're basically $2,000 more for something that's 99% the same as what you gave. So it's well, I think we've all done that. But it's tough. I mean, because if you're passionate about something, you always want to try to, be as good as you can, and to a certain extent, do whatever you can to be better than you were before. Whether it's photography or athletics or anything, any pursuit. Music. I mean, audiophiles. Gosh, talk about people that spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, Mark knows because we were just talking about it. I bought this thing here, Frank, and have not used. I used it maybe a couple of times. This was, I don't know, $100 or whatever it cost me, and it still just sits here. You know what I'm saying? A perfectly good mixer. Bought it, and
it looks good. I mean, it looks good.
It looks fantastic. I mean, don't I look like serious? You know what I'm saying? I'm
yeah.
Like, oh yeah. You see this here in my office, and you're like, oh dang, that guy knows some audio.
You hold that up, Joe, and damn, you look just like Quincy Jones.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then I got microphones and you know what I'm saying? I look like I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have a clue. I'm still using my plug-in headset here.
Yeah.
I was taking pictures of a soccer game with my Pentax 645, and I sat down in the bleachers, and the lady looked at my camera and said, "Well, that's a nice camera. You must take good pictures."
Yeah.
No, not necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
Any guy with a checkbook can get this and walk around with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same thing where you go into buildings or whatever, and you're not allowed to take in pro photography equipment. Not allowed. So, like we were talking about Michael, he was on the show a couple weeks ago. He does concert photography with a Pentax Lumix point and shoot, and he gets some good shots. But he says that's the only way you could get in because they're not going to allow anybody in with a pro quality lens.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing, just because you have that, they won't allow somebody in with a pro lens, but they could be a crappy photographer anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it is kind of funny, but I mean, like you said, Joe, people buy equipment because they expect that's what I'm a photographer. I have to have this, or I'm whatever, and I have to have this equipment.
Yep.
For me, the biggest waste of money I ever spent was on a robotic panoramic head.
Ooh.
You bought one of those? Really?
Yeah. It was like $1,000.
Woo. Never
used it.
Oh.
Not one time.
Yeah.
A Gigapan, that's what it's called. I even forgot what the hell the name is. It's sitting in my garage, in my closet. I'm thinking I have to sell because why did I buy this? I got a 40 megapixel camera, and I thought, well, it'd be better if I could take 9 or 12 shots at 40 megapixels a piece, and instead of having a 40 megapixel shot, getting something that's like 400 megapixels. Now that would be better because when I put it on Flickr, you could really know.
You can really see the difference.
You can really see the difference. I mean, what are you doing? I'm not making billboards. I'm not making shots that are going to be in some train station at 40 feet wide and 12 feet high or something. Come on.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Plus, the thing weighs a ton. I mean, with my back problems, my arthritis, there's no way I'm gonna even pull that thing out of my closet, let alone use it.
But when you bought that, you had it all perfectly justified in your mind. You knew exactly. You had gone through all the everything. It's like, this is going to do this. It's going to check off this and this and this and this. And this.
Well, it was also the idea of being able to do it. It was kind of like inspirational. This is what I got. I mean, if very few things in life will garnish you that with that inspiration to go out and take pictures than new gear.
Yeah.
But that wanes really, really quickly.
Yeah, it does.
Especially after you get your results back after the first shoot, and you realize they were no better today than they are last week or last month.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Well, it's we've had a very good philosophical discussion here tonight.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? You made me think about it, Frank, because when I first started shooting kind of semi-professionally, when I first started my little photography business in Albuquerque, and I was shooting a lot of high school seniors and stuff, I had to have this this belt. It would look like a construction sort of belt system thing. Okay. And I had to have it, and I used it a couple times, and it was very, very functional. I think for that system I paid somewhere close to $300. And it was basically for event photographers or sports photographers, and it was like you're carrying your bag, really. So you had pockets for each lens, and all different sorts of little things, right? And I used it a couple times for some events that I shot, including a wedding, and that was it. And I still have it to this day. It's in the garage in a bag. Like I have not used it in years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the photo. I was trying to think if there was a photography purchase, but that's the one. Yeah, right there. That was one that when I was still married in those days too, so I had to hear about it. Yeah.
You never use that. When are you going to use that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why'd you buy it if you're not going to use it?
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You had to justify everything you bought. You know what I'm saying?
I bought a flash bracket once. They had the whole wooden handle thing, and they bought the bracket that moves the thing over, and did a wedding, and I realized that all the pictures were overshooting my subject.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That's chalk one up to test it before you have to use it. Make sure it works.
Yeah,
you think it's going to work.
That is like the breaking the most simplest and most obvious rule in photography. Don't do a gig with untested equipment.
Yeah, exactly.
Not because it won't work, but because you don't know how to use it.
How to work it. Yeah. Well, I had when we were doing bike rides, I had a guy. We were going to up to Tennessee. It was like a destination ride, and it was a really tough long bike ride. And this guy's like, "Oh, I don't like my saddle." And a saddle to a bicyclist is like, a good pair of shoes. I mean, you want them broken in and be comfortable. So he got a brand new saddle the day before. He was going to be on the bike for 6 or 8 hours. And he hurt so bad. We're like, Jim, what the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, this is great. It's got all this new stuff. And I said, but you're not used to it. It's like, I'll be fine.
The seat, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you call the.
That's a very personal thing. I mean, yeah.
Especially for a guy, yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly where he hurt as a result of that. It did not accommodate all front and back appropriately.
Yeah.
So he's not having kids anytime soon.
Yeah. At least not for a month or so after that. Yeah. He was he couldn't finish the ride. I mean, literally, he could not finish. He was about 3 hours in, and it was so painful he had to stop.
Oh, poor guy.
So, but yeah. So yeah. read the manual and try it out before you have to use it. I mean, that's the lesson, I guess. And don't buy crap you don't need. That's the other lesson.
Yeah. Just you really, you know, because you know nowadays, you know, before I buy anything, I think about it so much. You know, just for that same reason that Frank gave. You know, I think about it and I think about it, and I'm like, do I really need this? And I'll of course gonna buy it in Amazon, so I'll put it in my Amazon cart. You know what I'm saying, for a while and make sure, you know, and I mean, I'll have it in there for months sometimes.
I've done that
just
too.
to make sure. Okay, is this something that am I going to use this 1 time or 2 times or even 5 times and then never come back to it? Do I really need this piece of gear? You know, so I may not stress about something that's $15 or $20, you know.
Oh yeah.
But you know, something that's even going to cost me $100, I'll really, really think about it. You know,
it's a smart thing to do because they always say, you know, if you're going to buy something, like you put it in your cart and wait a couple of days, you know, or at a minimum, you know, and that makes sense. Definitely, it's a way to help reduce the splurge or, you know, instant gratification spending that we tend to do sometimes.
Yeah, for me, there's 2 reasons why I'll buy some photographic equipment. It's either one, because I have a need for it, or 2, I see it and then I get inspired to actually get into that type of photography. Oh, macro, that's really cool shots. I don't have a macro lens. I think we'll go out and buy a macro lens. Without having the actual need for it. So you have the desire without the need, and that is just the recipe for just total waste of money.
That's a good way of putting it. You want to make sure that the need is there, and that you've actually maybe missed a couple of opportunities because you didn't have the tool for that need. And then you verify that the need is still valid, and then you can go get. So which is tough to do because you always want to make sure you have it, but you end up getting stuff that you don't really need.
Yeah, so you start off slow. Instead of getting a $600 100 millimeter macro, maybe you get a $30 extension tube.
Yeah, and see if you like it.
It's one reason why. Well, Mark knows I rented for a long time, so I kind of had a really good. By the time I started buying my own kit, I had a really good idea what I wanted and what I really would use and need. And where I would buy it and what price I wanted to pay. I was, you know, so because I had rented by you know, for so long before I actually started buying the big stuff. So
that's a good one to do. Try before you buy.
Yeah.
And speaking of trying before you buy, I've got to try this chili that's been sitting in my crock pot for 8 hours. So it's a great show, Frank. I'm glad you're able to make it back. Hope to see you here on more shows. It's good.
I'm trying.
Good to have you back in the mix. Bring a little more fun to the whole thing. You know, it's always fun to have people coming and going and popping in, and it's that's what makes it fun. So I appreciate the support. Show 225, 2 1/4 next week.
2 1/4. 2 1/4.
So that means we've been doing this for a few years. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But
that's good.
Anyway,
that's good.
Good
show,
you think
we'd be better by now.
Yeah. Well, you know. You know, we only you know, we've kind of reached the level. You know, we're just cruising. You know, we're not going any higher. We're just cruising altitude. You know. Yeah. We all have limitations, so we're just there and happy to be where we're at.
And once you're already great, it's hard to be the best. You know what I'm saying? True. It's that top 1% is
awesome.
Really hard.
Why want to be more awesomer when you're already awesome?
I mean, come on. You know.
Definitely. So hey, you guys have a great week. I will hopefully see you guys next week, and we'll see. And hopefully Wes is here so we can see what he got at the camera show, because I'm sure he picked up a few things.
Oh man, Wes loves to buy equipment. I'll give him that.
So we'll have some new equipment to talk about next week from Wes, I'm sure. So, all right, Frank, good one. Good seeing you, Joe.
Peace.
As always, guys. See ya. You guys have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
All right, man. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.